What's going on, guys? Welcome back to second episode of the Print House podcast. I'm your host, Raul, and the guy behind the microphone there is Rob.
Hey, what's up?
Witness protection today.
Witness protection, yeah. It's because I use those voices on TikTok.
Yep. Nobody knows how you really sound until
I know, right?
does. Yeah, man. So it's been
2
weeks.
whole weeks, 14 days.
There's been a lot of shit that's happening.
I know, right? I'm trying to
that massive.
No, I'm trying to hide it. Yeah. So, we're doing video for the first time too. But yeah, so I bought a new printer. Within that 2 weeks. Anycubic Cobra Max. So, dude, yeah. I did a live unboxing, and the build plate is like bigger than my chest. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that thing's massive. Yeah, like I was telling you, it actually makes the it makes the print head look.
Oh, dude, it's so tiny. It just everything looks tiny on that. And I feel so bad because the only thing I've printed are tiny shit. I haven't printed anything big on it, only because I've been doing like little minor upgrades and stuff. Right now, it's got the for the webcam, so I can do the stream on that. So, but yeah. So as soon as that's done, then I think I'm going to start a big print because we got something going on next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got we're going to be a guest on another podcast, and we'll talk more about it. But I think that's going to be exciting to get to talk to another fellow 3D printer and kind of dive into a little bit more behind us, I think, and printing life, man.
Yeah. So, what have you been doing in the last 2 weeks? What have you been printing up?
Oh man, I so far, well, actually, I'm sitting here at my desk, so I'm printing up these like Mayan snake.
Oh yeah.
Things. But these have been the bane of my existence because for whatever reason, they won't print without a brim. They're beautiful little, I forget the exact name, but I'm just calling them Mayan serpents. But those are pretty cool. And then, have you ever heard of the STL Flicks? It's like the Netflix for STL files. So, and not sponsored or anything. But,
you didn't.
I got an email randomly. No. But I got an email that they were like, hey, we want you to try, one of our files. And they sent me this.
Oh.
So it's a little articulated, like my daughter would call it cutesy. But yeah, it's just a nice little dragon here.
That's cool.
Kind of looks like it's not bad. Their files aren't bad. They actually sent me a lightsaber as well, but I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I might print it up for my son. But it's one of those print in place lightsabers.
Yeah. I'm actually going to print one of those here soon.
So I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. And they're trying to, recruit me to come sign up.
I see.
Their files are
I get them on TikTok all the time. Their ad, for sure. And on Instagram a lot. Yeah.
First impression, not gonna lie, it's not bad. It was a clean file. It printed really cleanly. This one printed no supports, so it's a pretty little file, man. So it's been fun. I've been printing up, trying to figure out, like I've been doing all sorts of stuff. I printed this potion bottle. I think I found this on either Thingiverse or Printables. I don't ever remember. So many files. This is a little potion bottle that, I don't know, just for fun.
Nice.
And then, this one's been fun. This one's not usable yet because I do have to sand it, but.
Dude.
Labyrinth box. This is a lot of fun. So I have another one that's blue, and I handed it to my.
Must be nice having a bunch of filament lying around, huh?
Hey, you know what? You have more on the way than I have in stock.
That's the problem. That's on the way.
Yeah, but when you run out and you have none, then it becomes a problem. See, I'm getting close to.
Well, see, that's my last. It's a half a roll. That's it. That's all I got left.
Yeah.
Until Sunblue decides, hey, by the way, we're gonna ship your order finally.
You know what I wish we had here in Arizona is Micro Center.
Yeah.
So I keep seeing ads
Yeah.
for that, like on TikTok and
Mhm.
Instagram, and I'm like, okay, tell me there's one in Phoenix at
No.
least. No,
Mm.
no. There's one in California, or I think Nevada. One of those, in a whole other state. That's not
I got
nowhere near
one 2 hours
close.
away from me.
That's closer than I
Yeah,
thought they have.
but I mean, who wants? I mean, who wants to drive 2 hours away to get filament?
Well, if you're buying like 50 rolls of filament, man,
I didn't buy 50 rolls. Right, I got 42.
42, 8 short. Damn it.
Actually, I made another
So,
order.
oh, what would you
Tricolor.
get?
I got a roll,
Ooh, is it what is it?
pink and purple.
Is it? But is it like PETG? Is it
PLA,
PLA? Is
PLA.
it
Yeah,
silk?
yeah.
PLA
No,
silk?
just PLA.
Oh, good. Silk is up.
Yeah, it's real stringy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm just doing a lot of PLA stuff right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I bought one roll of the PETG, and that one was a little bit difficult because that one you have to really slow it down. Um, you have to really calibrate your machine to
Hmm.
it, which is interesting enough because that's what our topic is today: calibration.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, what's funny is that I actually have not fired up the resin printer in like 2 weeks,
Same.
which is very
I know.
strange for me
Yeah.
because it was going like nonstop.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It probably is good because it
Yeah.
needed a break.
Yeah. Yeah. The machines have taken a long rest. I need to do some maintenance on a couple of mine. For sure. New FEPs. Definitely need. Yeah. There's maintenance you have to do. So, and with those maintenance comes calibration right after you're done. So, here we are.
Yeah. So you had yours pretty well primed before you took a break and printed a bunch of shit. And I know that I had told you the last time we talked, I had mine working fabulous, and then I messed around with the settings, and well, yeah, things got tricky there
Yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah. So, let's just kind of jump into it. So, calibration cubes, man. Um, those are, I think, what saved our settings, isn't it?
The cones of
Yeah.
calibration. See, now we're getting the FDM and the resin mixed up.
Oh, are we doing FDM today?
No, but you said the calibration.
Oh, the
cubes.
calibration cubes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Can you tell I've been doing a lot of FDM stuff in the past few weeks?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The cones of
Man.
calibration. Good Lord. Wow.
So, how many different cones did you print before you were confident? Like, hey, you know what? This is it. I got these dialed in. Because some people.
This many.
There you go. Damn. So, for those not watching, how many is that?
Oh, you can make me count. That is
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 6. I did six tests. 6.
See, and that's 6 different attempts at trying to dial in your
Yep.
settings.
Yeah. So this is roughly 6 hours, 7 hours worth of printing. Unfortunately.
Isn't that fun?
Right?
Man?
Yeah. It takes about 58 minutes, 59 minutes. But for the settings that I have
Seems like eternity.
the settings I have are pretty.
Well, you did pretty thin layer line.
Yeah.
What did you get to? Better question before you answer that. Actually, where did you start? So what were your settings at before your first cones of calibration, and then where you ended up? Like, and it doesn't have to be exact, obviously, but like what layer, the height were you messing with, and what did you end up with?
So when I first got the printers, I did everything in stock, and everything printed out fine. You're gonna have your failures. But I didn't really have a lot of failures, right? A couple here and there. A couple things didn't print. A couple holes in things, just minor things, warping. So I started off stock settings, so 0.05 layer height, and then whatever the stock retraction and all that stuff was. I decided that I wanted to go down to a finer layer height to get rid of some layer, to get rid of layer lines. And I don't know, I went down low. I started low and then went up high. And I probably printed up too many cubes, to be honest. But you know, yeah. So now I'm at 0.003, or yeah, right? Yeah, 0.03.
You did so many layers, you're like, I don't know
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
remember.
So and then now I'm just playing with retraction settings and whatnot. So
See, and I think it's interesting because when you shared your settings with me, I tried them out for mine. And I think just because of temperature, humidity, all of that, um, it just didn't work the same.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's interesting. And then, like, Tucson weather has been absolutely batshit crazy. There's no other term for it. One day our high is like 64, and the next is
Mm-hmm.
82. So right now, like, because my resin printers are in my garage, there's no control in there. It's pretty much at the mercy of the outside temperature with a little bit of insulation, but
Right.
that's about it. So I think that's a factor that most people don't think about, is the fact that your settings can be vastly different just because of temperature,
Oh yeah,
humidity, other
yeah.
factors
And
like
that's
that.
one. I mean, that's one benefit of being able to print in the house is. I mean, I know it's flipped,
Nice.
but that's constant all the time. Um,
Yeah.
So, but I think another big problem too is when people do the cones of calibration. Um, that's it. Then they're that's all the information they get, and there's a lot more that goes into it, especially when you change layer heights. Um, so, uh, just for instance, here we're gonna
Let's
yeah.
check it out. So for those of you that aren't watching or aren't seeing a clip of this, we're sharing Rob's screen here, and he's going to walk us through kind of some of the settings here.
So now I'm running real low layer height. So generally with that, you also wanna increase your bottom layer count. Which I mean, again, I mean that's not a lot. There's not a lot of information out there when you do this kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you definitely want to change your bottom layer count. You want to double it every time you go down layer heights. In my experience, so that's what I did, and that gave me a whole lot better adhesion on the build plate. You can see,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I know the camera can't pick it up, but you can definitely see the build plate texture, the way that it gets in the grooves and everything else on the build plate. So definitely want to up that, and then your transition count. How many times is it stepping down? I think those two big numbers play a factor because I see a lot of peeling from the build plate,
Mm-hmm.
or even um, even peeling from supports. And
Yeah.
that comes down to bottom layer count and transition counts. You want to make sure that you're only getting this little itty bitty notch on that build plate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's it. You want to make sure that your transitions are generally done before it hits any kind of supports, because you're having such a long exposure time on that bottom. You're effectively curing the entire bottom to the build
Yeah.
plate.
Well, because I mean, you're at what, 30 seconds for bottom exposure time
Yeah.
on that one?
Yep. 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 2 second exposure, 30-second bottom exposure, and then it.
What did you see that when you made these changes, like initially, what did you see that it did to your print times?
Oh man, it 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 doubled them if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but and here's the thing. So, I mean, if you want a fast resin printer, um, realistically, quality prints in a fast resin printer don't really
No.
mix
No.
well. Those words should not exist or
Mm-mm.
coexist. I think that with resin, as impatient as we all can be, I think one of the big things is you want quality over speed.
But the nice thing about resin printers is you're only affected by the height of the print.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively, if you want a faster printer and you want your models to print faster, you're going to want a bigger machine to fit more on the build plate, because you're only limited by how fast you can go up. You're not limited by, FDM machines are limited spatially. They got to travel the whole. Resin machines, there's one movement up and down. So that's the nice thing about resin.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I mean, if you see people talking about, there was a video that I saw that a guy was saying, well, if I can print, if it takes me an hour, I mean, this took like 5 hours. I think this little dragon. If this takes 5 hours, then I'll just load the build plate and build 5 of them on the FDM printer. That doesn't take 5 hours. If you're printing 5 of these and it took 5 hours, and you spread them out over the build plate, well, it's not going to take you 25 hours, probably longer, because your machine's moving and having to make all that traveling. With resin, the key advantage is that if you were able to do these dragons on the resin at 5 at a time, and your build plate could sustain that, it would take you 5 hours.
You can actually do those on resin, by the way.
Articulate?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? I'm going to have to try this. Don't mess with me, man. Okay. I still think that these are more FDM, like in the way they feel. Plus,
if I didn't take my model to the shop, I have it's a D&D figure, but I blew it up. The chains on the rhinoceros or whatever animal it is, they actually move, and they're super thin too. Yeah. You just have to support it like really good.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah. So you can definitely do it with that. That would be cool.
So okay, and for people that just kind of get into this, let's kind of break it down. So you change the layer height, you change your exposure time, your layer count for the bottom. When you're affecting all of that, right? What is we already talked about what it does for your speed. It can slow it down. How do you get some of that speed back? And again, I'm a big proponent of quality over speed.
But you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait a day and a half for a print that should take 11 hours. So that's where you kind of start messing with your lift speeds and your lift distances, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of messing with lift distances. What I generally like to do is I generally go from one area to the other when I'm doing anything, because generally what's going to happen is once you get this in right here, your speeds are going to be down, and then you'll have a lot of wiggle room over here. It's just how much wiggle room are you comfortable with and whatnot. So, but that's where I'm at right now. 75, 95, which I think is 65 and 65 stock. So that's what I've been kind of messing with right now with these, and I'm cool with those. My prints still take a little bit longer than what they did before, which I mean I'm okay with. I have ADHD, so I can squirrel something. Sparkles. Yeah. Now I'm just kind of messing with lift distance. How far up is it going to come up before it squashes back down? And you want to make sure that when you're messing with any of these settings, that you know what it was before, right? Because there is no, let me go back, right?
Well, and then as well as you don't want it ripping too fast off of the FEP sheet, or else there goes your FEP sheet.
I mean, you can reset the current profile right here, but that resets everything that you've done. So unless you've got it written down or backed up or whatever, yeah.
And just for reference, for those that aren't watching, we're working with Cura right now.
No, shit you box. Yeah. Now who has FDM on the brain?
Yeah, no, yeah, man.
Cut. All right, we need to loop back and we need to edit that back out.
But yeah, so working with this, is it? How do you pronounce it? Because Chitu box.
Oh,
Or
I
Chitu
call it
box?
shit you box. Like wholeheartedly. Well, I mean, come on. Like how else would you not pronounce CHITUBOX? That is shit you box. Okay. I kind of passed third grade reading, and I run a shit you box version 1.9.4.
We'll see. And but see, I wonder if that's a location difference because I say soda or like
Oh yeah, you can go
you
get
know,
some
and you say
soda. You can
pop.
go get some soda.
No, it's not like a
Some
Minnesota thing.
soda.
But you, for example, when you were on your live, you were all, I'm gonna go grab a pop. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
yep,
let me get
there
a
he goes.
pop. That's my Midwest coming out in me.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, just kind of been messing with the time with the exposure. I haven't printed anything in 2 weeks though. But what I have, I did take all these settings, and I did get a um, working on Thanos, printing him up. So,
Nice.
but yeah, so I did the
It's looking
base. I
good.
did the base in it, and everything kind of fit up real nice. Um, there's really no, there's a seam, but it's not too bad. I'm probably just gonna leave it the
Yeah.
way it is. So, but yeah, seams are gonna happen, but these settings are supposed to help get rid of those. So,
So, and I'm gonna throw this out there. So this right here is called Mr. White Putty. Um, it's meant to fill. So you remember that other filler that I had used, the white
mm-hmm.
wood filler? That one is that one's easier to work with. This one is really like goopy and sticky, but this one is super sandable. The other one is too, but I feel like this one leaves you a smoother surface. So when you're filling cracks,
Gotcha.
either that other stuff or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. White stuff. Man, we're just plugging everybody today.
Mr. White stuff. No, man, just share what Hey, I think it's like a Japanese or Asian company because I don't know what the hell the back says. Like, it's all in Chinese or Japanese. I have no idea. Never learned that language.
But
So,
yeah, so these are the
in
settings.
terms
What?
of, but in terms of, because I remember when you changed them all, we had talked about the
Mm-hmm.
layer heights. There was a significant difference in the way that it looked, and the detail.
Oh yeah,
And I mean, the model you have is from Wicked, I believe, right?
yeah. We can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one, and you guys, if you haven't checked out their stuff is all super detailed. Um, it, it's kind of ridiculous, like kind of absolutely ridiculous how detailed
Mm-hmm.
their models are. But when you showed me the difference between before the layer height change and after the layer height change, it was significant.
Yeah, yeah. There were. I mean, you can still see layer lines. Don't get me wrong. But uh, just the little detail, like little crevices in the head, where
Yeah.
like that versus the other one. I mean, they were there, but I mean, they were more blurred. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I know it only went down like 0.02, which is nothing. But when you're building up from nothing and you're building up 0.202 layer line or oh 03, that's, yeah, it, it makes a lot of detail pop out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Are you drinking a pop there? Yeah.
I got to turn it around so I don't get sued, but I think everybody knows what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking some energy drink that I'm not really a fan of. It's I don't know, Hawaiian shaved ice. It's not my favorite.
Well,
Um, yeah.
maybe I can get
I don't know.
sponsored
I
by
stopped drinking
Pepsi.
soda a long time ago. There you go. Get sponsored by them. Get a case shipped to your house.
So what have you done with
That'd be
settings?
horrible. Well, I've gotten mad. I've gotten frustrated, and I think I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, trying to get these microphones perfectly placed. It's
I
a
know.
pain in the ass. No, I mean, it's So after my little experiment, after you change your settings, I attempted to, fix mine a little bit. Luckily, I got them dialed in really, really well. I was having some build plate for whatever reason. Every time I printed something, my build plate would just unlevel after the print. And I mean, usually I could go probably anywhere from 5 to 9 prints before I had to re-level. And I don't know if it was just because I was printing a bigger, because I was printing that dragon I was telling you about last time. And I mean, I got that all printed, looks great, but I had quite a few failures on that one. I had to reprint things after re-leveling. I think I'm down to 0.04 layer height. So not big difference from where it came, but definitely looks clean. The detail's nice. Not having as many issues now with failures. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. A lot of the settings and things like that, I've been doing a lot of late night reading, just trying to acclimate myself to what different settings do. And then, of course, we jumped into like the FDM world.
That kind of consumed everything.
We're trying to go back and forth. Yeah. I mean, in all reality, it changes a lot of things when you're working with two different types of printers, and then especially just being that learning stage. So,
well, and it doesn't help
my
either.
settings are dialed in, but
it doesn't help either that FDM printing is like, I don't know, building a spacecraft versus, a resin printer is like driving a car.
No, it really is. It really is. I mean, the difference is, it's so much different because I tried to print something like, I don't know if it's right here anywhere, but I tried to print something that you would normally print on a resin, and it just was not working out well on the FDM. Like I had some droopage and that, so I have a patience problem. I don't have ADHD. I have a patience problem. And so for me, I lack the patience to try and work things out sometimes in a calm manner. I have to figure things out like now, that minute, that instance, which does not happen with these machines. It usually takes a couple of, so like these Mayan serpents, right? I've thrown away 12 of the first like 5 layers of these because they just fail and spaghetti on me. But yeah, so like, it all depends. I mean, settings, I think on my resin one, I got it dialed in now. I'd have to look, and I probably should have checked right before we jumped on. But I'd have to look at what I ended up with. But I'm actually really happy now in terms of where I'm at. Let me see if I can pull it up without crashing my shit.
Don't crash your shit.
I mean, the biggest thing I think for me is the quality of the print. Obviously, like if you can see the layer lines in the print significantly, especially with resin, I feel like that, it's time to dial things in. And I think that if, your prints don't look as detailed as they're supposed to look, obviously the renderings versus the real thing, you're talking two different things. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, okay, what do we change? What do we do? Let me see here. So I got it up here. So no, I'm at a 0.045.
Yep.
That's where I had to settle at. I got a layer count of like 12. My exposure time is actually 2.4. When I tried to dip it below that, my prints just were not working out. Bottom exposure time is at 35 for me. And my transition layer count is at 10. So I haven't really messed with any of the lift distance or speeds. I think right now my bottom lift speed is at 70, my lifting speed's at 90, and my retract speed, I think that's at 80 right now. No, it's not 80. It's at 180. There we go. So, and lifting distance is at 3 millimeters.
Yeah. Yeah, and I increased mine. So you can increase the lifting distance to ensure that you are getting an ample amount of resin flow back underneath your build plate. Because what happens is people will want speed. And so another good way to get speed back is to take your distance and squash it down, right? So like right now mine goes up 4, and then goes up another, I think 6 or whatever. But I mean, you can lower that and then you get some of your speed back because it's not going up as high.
Gotcha.
But
see, but if you mess with it too much, can't you get shifting?
Yeah, you'll get shifting because you're not getting enough resin underneath it. So you could definitely get a lot of layer shifts because you got, or a lot of what do they call it? I want to say artifacting, and it's not what it's called, but it's like blurry lines that come off, so it doesn't make corners as sharp. Like, see how sharp that corner is? It's not going to focus. But yeah, so you mean like sharp corners, it will blur them out to round them out, and words will not come out as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. See, I had so when I was printing Supergirl, that's in the box still, by the way. She's banished to the box for a while. There's a cape that wraps around her, and I had some major shifting the first time I printed it, which pissed me off because, I mean, the thing is probably about 9 inches tall, the cape, right? So it took a while to print because of the height of it. But then towards the end of it, which would be the top of it, it shifted. And it pissed me off because it was like 13 hours that just didn't matter anymore. And there was just no saving it. Like, I mean, the way that it shifted, there was no saving it anymore. So that's where I struggle because I'm like, if I change something, I mean, yeah, I can always go back and reset. But it's like, once you dial it in just right, what do you do? Do you leave it? Do you change it? Do you keep trying? Or do you just go, oh, wait, this looks perfect, I'm going to leave it here.
So, and that's another thing too, is a lot of these issues that you can have resin printing can be a lot of different causes, right? So layer shifts, another thing of layer shift is suction.
Mm-hmm.
How much suction force are you peeling away from the vat, from your FEP? And especially with larger prints, if it's not dual rail, you'll see a lot of wobble, right? Thankfully, we have dual rails. Jeez, I cannot talk.
Yeah.
But I mean, even at that height, we're printing stuff up this big, that thing's coming down, and it, there's gonna be wobble, unfortunately but you can minimize that, and that again, lift speed, and height. So I mean, there's a lot of different settings that can change one thing, but there's a lot of issues that can be different settings, multiple settings.
So you're saying you want a lot of suction, or you don't?
Yeah, no, the less suction you have is going to be so much better. Yeah.
I think that's the first time anybody said that.
Wow, you went there.
I did. To set you up for that one, I appreciate you falling in line.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, it's got.
Well, I'm out.
Got it, buddy. All right, I'm out. So, okay, less suction. Got that one. And then in terms of the lifting distance, so obviously we want that to make sure that we're not having a minimal amount of resin that goes back under the print, that ensures that we have enough to print the next layer. Right. And then speed. So ultimately, when you combine the distance and the suction, the suction is part of, and I mean, that's factored by distance and speed. So I mean, in terms of like, for example, what would you say? Because you said you're still messing with the speeds, right?
Well, I'm just kind of messing with the distances on how far we're lifting. And I'm on the high end of where I need to be. But with something like that, I'd rather be on the high end on this when I'm printing something versus being on the low end and having, everything fail halfway through a print because something's not adhering.
What the hell? That one wasn't intended. That one wasn't intended. Press the space bar and it's all. No. All right. So let me mark that real quick here. All right. So, I mean, let's see. What other, I mean, really, when it comes down to resin settings, like, here's a good question for you because we both print with the same resin, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you printed with any other resin?
Yeah, so I mean, I do have some Anycubic. No, Elgu. I have some Elgu resin, translucent, and then I have some Elgu black that I mixed together. Yeah.
Nice. Now, do you think that there's an adjustment to be made between resin blends?
Yep. Yeah. Well, let me back that up. Yes and no. It depends on the type of resin you're going to be buying, right? If you're using ABS resin and you go from, let's say you go Sunlu to Elgu, right? Those are going to be two different formulas, most likely.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the viscosity is different. Like Elgu is definitely thicker than Sunlu.
Yeah. Now, if you get a resin that looks like it's the same, viscous and everything else, run a calibration cube. This takes an hour. Run a calibration cube. Cube. See how that
cones of calibration.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cones of calibration. Run that test. It takes an hour and a half at the very most, and you'll be able to see, if it's the same. If it's not, then it'll fail, and then you will know. Okay, I got to run a couple more tests. But if you also go from a different type of resin, standard resin, water washable, ABS 2.0, 8K. God, there's so many. Colored,
see, in that 8K,
clear.
That 8K one was nice. I don't know. And here's the thing, honestly, truth, like in terms of because I've seen, people in the forums and like the groups all debate on like different resins, honestly, man, I love the color of the 8K resin from Elgu. It looks phenomenal. But like I told you, if you're going to paint it,
right.
I think that the color brings out more detail. But like, for example, I switched over to the Sunlu dark gray. Similar, not the same. Similar. You mix it with a little bit of black, you get about the same color.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a engineer, and I'm not a scientist. Although I do subscribe to different conspiracy theories that would have other people believe otherwise. But in real life, I'm not, right? So I don't know what they do to it and everything else. 8K resin, I don't know what's in it. I don't know how they make it. To me, the bottle says that it's 4 or 5 standard resin, right? Just like all the other resins say 405 standard resin. And then I don't know if ABS might be stronger. Who knows? Maybe it's a placebo. Maybe it's all the same resin. And they're just like, oh, look, we can get these idiot Americans to pay, $50 for a bottle if we slap 8K on it.
See, but I'm not going to disagree. And that's the thing.
Because I have this right here. Look. This is standard black, and that, I could say, well, that was 8K resin. Who's going to know? Who's going to know? Who's going to know?
Who's going to know?
Nobody would know if that's not
Damn,
AK resin.
why can't we have that clip loaded up? But see, that's the thing. And then when it comes to dialing and settings, I think because I started with the Elgu 8K resin because I thought, okay, I have an 8K machine. Saturn 2 is an 8K machine. I'm going to use the resin that they specifically designed for it. I had great results, no problem. Didn't even change my set, like out of the box,
Yeah.
no problems. Granted, it's November, Arizona, so it's not super cold. I mean, it still gets chilly, but not super cold. But in terms of my settings, printed. I mean, we did the cones of calibration. I think I changed. I think the exposure time by like 0.2, and that was it. But my first cones of calibration printed out pretty well. And then I switched over because, sorry, but Elga's resin's expensive.
Yeah.
And I switched over, and Sunlu's been working great. And I mean, I didn't really have to mess with the settings there either. I wanted to dial them in a little bit better, but I mean, didn't have to change them.
Right, right. I mean, Sunlu's not bad for the most part. I haven't had any issues with them, except for my filament. That they never shipped.
Well, I will say that. Well, that's because it hasn't shipped. You haven't messed with it yet.
I know.
I will say that I have tried the Sunlu standard resin.
Yep.
Not necessarily a fan. The ABS like is the one that I prefer.
Yeah. And it's because when I drop it, it doesn't break. Yeah. So I mean, I do think the formulas are a little bit different. It's not all the same resin, but 8K resin. I'm not sure what all that means.
Hey, it's like purified water.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Right. It has to be. 8K resin has to be purified water.
I don't know. Maybe Elgu could reach out to us and let us know what makes it different.
Yeah, that'd be great. What makes your 8K resin different? Send me an engineer.
Send us some samples.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be great. Just saying.
Have you done any what okay, so we've covered pretty much the whole shit you box setting thing. Yeah. What have you done to your FDM printer?
Oh man.
Just a quick just before we end the podcast, we can just quickly give a brief synapse of all the fuckery that has happened in the world of FDM in the last 2 weeks.
So I added a orange pie, which that might as well have been Chinese to
me.
And for those of you that don't know, orange pie is just another version of a raspberry
cheaper
pie. Yeah, and cheaper, more affordable. So I added that.
And if you want to sponsor this video, you can get us hold of us. Right. Orange pie.
I had a fun time doing that because that was Chinese to me. So I'm great with computers when it comes to fixing programs, all sorts of other stuff like that. But when it comes to what are they called? Single board computers?
PCB?
This was an interesting journey. So I got that added. I got a camera hooked up to it. That almost the expansion board. I don't know what the hell the point of that thing is. We talked about that. We'll dive into that one a little bit more in another episode. But got that hooked it up to a powered USB. Got the webcam working. Got the Octoprint, all of that. Octoprint was a big adventure for me because I'm like, what the hell is this? I just learned Cura, but not having to put that SD card into the printer is actually
right. And that's really all that Octoprint's really good for. But I mean, at the same time, like I don't have to go over here and take an SD card out of this computer. That's nice. It is. It may seem lazy, but it is nice.
No, it's wonderful, and it makes things a lot quicker because then you're not having to get up, get the card, grab the card. I mean, you still have to get up and clear the plate, but yeah. And then in terms of like actual setting changes, so I've been messing around with the speed. I've been messing around, and it depends on so I've been using this JO filament for a little bit here. Good stuff. I like it. I've been messing with the speeds. If I go any higher than 60, it definitely spazzes out on me. I get a lot more print failures. but I also think that depends on temperatures and all that. But just in terms of like what I've actually done to it, I did this. So the extruder calibration,
Mhm.
which is literally just measuring the amount of filament that comes out of the extruder versus what's supposed to come out of the extruder. What the funny thing is that if your program says, okay, this is 100 millimeters of filament that's supposed to extrude, if you don't do this calibration, it could be off by anywhere from 2 to 20 millimeters. Now imagine that if you're printing an extra 20 millimeters because the program ran and said to extrude 100 millimeters, you're talking extra filament that creates blobs, stringiness, things like that. So my stringing significantly went down. Um, the prints come out a lot cleaner now. My layer lines are actually, I mean, with filament, you're going to have the layer lines, but they're so much cleaner now. So much cleaner. So that's definitely something I suggest. I'm actually going to post a video about it on my TikTok and my Instagram. So we'll see what comes of that.
Well, you've had quite a 2-week adventure with that one.
Yeah, man, I almost threw the orange pie.
Yeah, I remember you texted me going, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
Well,
I had.
So in the last 2 weeks, yeah, I got that new printer. It took me 2 whole days to put it together, even though it was like only 3 pieces. It was just so awkward and big that I was like, well, I need some help putting this together. There's no way I can do this by myself. But I ended up doing it. A lot of people watch me struggle on live, which is great. And yeah, I haven't really done anything with the Neptune, except put a webcam facing the Cobra. But it just got done. It just got done doing the new mount for.
Nice.
But it's a glass bed. Okay. So
that's what I was going to ask you. So how do you get the prints off there? Do they come off pretty easily?
Because I mean,
I have the flexi plate.
Yeah, I honestly, I might install a flexi plate. Don't know yet. So far, it's not bad. No adhesion problems. No leveling problems. That auto leveling is nice, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna be doing a couple of things. LED light bar, to do a live feed. I'm gonna grab my wife's old Samsung phone, and then be doing TikTok live on this printer. Yeah. But I gotta wait till I get a bunch of filament.
That's the thing, man. I got an extra phone here that I've had forever, and that's what I use to do my Instagram lives. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it also kind of sucks because if I put it and set it up, sometimes I'll just walk away, and then so if somebody messages me on there or says something, I'm not actually there.
Yeah. I feel like a DJ.
But hey, I got other shit I gotta do. Right. It's like it's just you got to start beatboxing.
No, I can't do that. Cannot do that.
Don't worry, me either. But yeah, no, I mean, so that's my adventure. I know that it was funny watching you put that thing together, man. I was like, that thing is gigantic.
Well, and then I had to move it all around too. So I had to move my wash station that was there, right? I had to move that down here. I had to move that down here to the corner. Then I have to reinforce this desk a little bit. I have a Neptune sitting down here on the floor because I don't have any room for it. There's no room for it at all. And then I have another one sitting over here. So I think my father-in-law is actually going to get a new printer.
Well, that works out.
Install the BL touch on that and calibrate it and then send it to him. So probably what I'll end up doing. I don't need 6 printers. 4, 5, yeah, I can do 6 now. I'm good.
Eventually the goal is to have a whole print farm with the shelves.
Yes, that is the goal. However, that goal doesn't need to happen today. I am overwhelmed with printers as it is, and the amount of upkeep and maintenance that you have to do. It's people are like, oh, I'm gonna get a 3D printer, and that's fine. And hey, welcome to the community. Don't forget your maintenance. Okay, don't forget your maintenance, because I mean, I don't do oil changes on my car. I don't until like the very last minute, and then I pay for it because I there's so much other bullshit I have to pay for because I didn't do my oil change, so now there's a bunch of gaskets got to change. Whatever, that's my fault, right? I mean, same thing with your printer. So that's why I'm trying to keep up on all the maintenance, because I don't. They're not expensive machines, but they are expensive machines.
Yeah, I mean, and luckily the thing is for the first few weeks, it's really not too bad.
Right.
But then if you don't, like, for example, man, my resin printing, like, because I was printing back to back for a while, things just got out of hand. And like I had, because your resin drips out of the holes at the, all of that. Even after cleaning, you still have resin that drips out, know. And so I had like resin like on my table
everywhere,
and I'm like, oh, man, yeah. No, the only disadvantage of the resin really like is the mess it makes. And I mean, try and keep the machines clean, try and keep the areas clean, but when you're printing back to back, it can get almost.
Oh yeah. So it's always good to have downtime. And generally, I don't like to take more than 2 weeks off of printing something with my resin machine. But because I got more FDM machines, I need to print more stuff up. So I'm gonna be printing up some full filaments. So look for those on the TikToks, because I'll be live streaming all that stuff being built. And the cool thing is I need 30 hangers. I can fit a lot on this build plate.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, and that's I mean, there's so much I got to build. The next thing is, well, she's probably not going to hear this yet. So, so I got a new model from CA 3D Labs, and it's a Morticia.
Ooh.
And my wife absolutely loves Morticia. Cool as shit. The model looks super cool. So I'm going to print that up for her and paint that
that'd be cool.
And give it to her. Yeah, because we just passed our 16-year anniversary, so I think that'll be my little belated anniversary present.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So my wife wants a Datrix sword from Skyrim, and we'll be printing. It's a Skyrim sword from the game Skyrim. Yeah, the Datrix sword. So I'll maybe print that up for her here in the couple of weeks, like full size too.
That'll be interesting. You're gonna have to mesh that one together.
Yeah. I'll have to figure it out, but full size.
Man. Yeah. Well, now you got the thing to do it.
Yeah. So.
Well, you see, that's the other thing too, is that with the FDM you can print a little bit bigger, because you got more build there.
It's just gonna take time.
But
just takes time.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, we're about to wrap up our show, but let's hit a couple points here. So soon we have, and we don't know the release date yet, but this next week we have coming up, we are actually going to be on podcast with Misfit Printing. She's on TikTok. I think she has an Instagram as well, but if you want to look her up, it's misfit_printing. And we'll be on her. I believe the podcast is called Meet the Maker.
Yeah.
So we'll be on that podcast coming up. So as soon as that releases, we will be, giving you details on that episode. And then as well, we're going to get the YouTube up, because now we're going to have video. So that'll be interesting. You get to see our ugly mugs.
Well, half of mine.
Oh yeah. I was making that joke. I mean, I'm pretty, like that fucking bold glamour filter on TikTok. That thing is stupid. I was like, damn, I'm pretty, but I'm not that pretty. Fucking like catfishing people all over the place.
Oh
no. Yeah, dude. Bad news. Fucking, I'm so happy that, I'm married and I don't have to worry about fucking people catfishing me with fucking filters,
I know, man. Right? Jesus. That's People are like, "Oh, you don't look nothing like your picture." Oh, thanks.
Right? No, it's like, well, it was 20. Well, that's the thing about real estate too, though. Like you'll see real estate agents that have like pictures from 20 years ago, and you'll be like, they don't look like
Oh
that
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. I think, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So anyway, before I forget, I know we were going to talk about where we got you got that Thanos model from. That was wicked. Did you want to kind of
Yeah, so we get it all.
show a
This is where
preview?
we get all of our models from. So just this is just kind of just a little thing. I got the Wicked and the Star Wars models, so this is where we get them all from. We also get them. I just want to point yours out to you real quick. This is where you get.
Man. Berserk, because obviously you see the S on my chest. I'm more of a DC
Yeah,
guy.
whatever.
You see the Marvel on his
He
cap.
just sucks more.
It's just a cheap knockoff.
So this is, I mean, Wicked and Berserk are roughly around the same price line. This is just
Yeah, and I mean, same creator, wonderful models. If you guys, are looking for quality models, go check them out. I highly suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. When you join too, you get 25
mean,
models, just for free. And that's across all the platforms.
Yeah, and Gabriel's pretty funny, man. He's badass. Like he's good about responding to people. He's good about he's super cool, super energetic guy. So whenever you see him, if you haven't seen him jump on a live yet, it's probably like one of the most entertaining things ever. Because that guy's just got so much energy.
Yeah, and I mean they do a lot of deals and a lot of specials throughout the month too. You get so much more. I don't know. I think between both platforms, I roughly get between 12 and 20 models a month. Yeah, yeah, easy.
Yeah. And I mean, for the price that you're paying per month, it's definitely worth
absolutely.
it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, my headphones are about to die because I'm.
Well, they lasted an hour. That's good.
Them. They did with like a 6-minute charge time. That was phenomenal. So, next up for us is we'll be interviewing on that other podcast, and then another episode will come out 2 weeks from the release of this one. We're actually recording on Zombie Jesus Day.
Zombie Jesus Day.
So we delayed our recording by 1 day because we're some busy mofos.
Yeah, so
on. With that being said, guys, that's all from me. Rob, what you got?
Not much. Just FDM stuff. Gotta calibrate this machine and start printing up helmets.
What's the first helmet?
Black Panther. Yeah, I'm gonna do a Black Panther one.
Nice. I like it. It's a pretty bad.
Well, yeah, and it's one of the easier ones. But there's just a lot of detail on the outside. So do the calibrations and then do that one to see how it looks, and then go from there.
Nice. All right, man. Well, until next time, guys, check us out. Hey, guys, remember, like, share, all that shit. Not like. The fuck am I talking about?
Well, you can like, because this is going to be on
share
YouTube
the show.
too.
Give us reviews if you would. 5-star reviews would be amazing. Share with your friends. Share with your family. Anybody who's into 3D printing.
Share it.
We'd be more than happy to talk to them. If you guys want to be a guest on our show and you can bring the value, or you want to submit some questions to our show, theprinthousepodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us, and we look forward to having you on as a guest or answering your question. All right, guys. Until next time.
Thanks. Bye.